Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk Live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Girl MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Floyo and Michael Bullock. Gentlemen, we're just going to dive right on in. Smackdown Live. We started it off um, with, well, we're just going to start it off with the action here. So I know there was a promo segment. I'm not really going to get into it. We started off with a tag team match as it was Sheamus and Rich Holland with a new guy named Butch. Well, Butch is actually someone who's very familiar. Does anybody know about Pete Dunne in NXT? Yeah, that's his name. So Butch is now a part of the main roster, going up against Kofi Kingston and Big E. And when it was all said and done, the winners of the bout in 8 minutes and 49 seconds was Sheamus and Rich Holland. But guys, the bigger story of this was that Big E got hurt. Big E got hurt seriously, guys. And unfortunately, it's now being reported he suffered a broken neck. It's the worst possible news to get. It is the worst. The injury looked bad. Like, we're going to openly admit it. The injury looked bad. My thoughts and prayers are with Big E. Speedy recovery. He's probably out of WrestleMania now, guys. I don't even think he's even going to make it to Mania. There's no way. If it's a broken neck, he's going to be out for a while. That's the worst possible thing to happen. The match, I don't even think we should even put a rating on this, guys, because of the fact of what happened to Big E. So there's really nothing more to add. Anthony Florio, not the way to start the show, not the way that we wanted it to get into this, but this is wrestling. It is actually real. Big E got hurt pretty bad here tonight.
Yep. Beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. How many times have I said that? So when I sign off on Ridiculously Raw, I always say it. Beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. And unfortunately, we saw that here tonight. And I 100% agree with MF's sentiments. We're not going to put a rating on this. But just because I'm not going to give a rating doesn't mean I'm going to give my thoughts about the match, though. It was a typical, energetic tag team match between three former world champions, and a solid young prospect came to a scary end late when Big E missed his trademark spear to the floor and Rich Holland followed with an overhead suplex. Big E landed on his head and went still. And the debut of Pete Dunne as Butch was most notable here. The guy was out there wearing a belt and suspenders like some kind of savage. Worse was the idea that we were supposed to pretend that the same guy has been an accomplished wrestler under a whole other name and even wrestled for the NXT championship against then champion Adam Cole at the 2019 Survivor Series. That overhead suplex to Big E was cringeworthy. We can all hope that the former WWE champion is okay. And yeah, the gentleman that we cut ties with a couple months ago, he posted a short little video about this. Big E with the brace, with the neck brace, and oh man, what a damper on it. Definitely puts a major damper on what has been a very exciting. It's been a very exciting week in the world of not just professional wrestling, but in the world of sports too. I mean, we had that 5-star classic on Monday Night Raw, that Raw Tag Team Championship triple threat, and the great news of yesterday with the Major League Baseball lockout ending. But he took a scary bump at the start of the show, and he suffered a broken neck, stretchered off, and the former champion landed on the crown of his head while taking a suplex outside of the ring. He shared a video on social media confirming the serious injury suffered while ensuring he would be okay. He said, "I can't thank all of you beautiful people enough for your concern and your messages. It's very heartwarming. I can move all of my digits. You see that? That's nice. That's always a good thing. Strength feels fine, but unfortunately right now they tell me my neck is broken. I'll be all right. I'll be good. Don't worry." And footage captured by fans in attendance showed Big E being stretchered out during the match, and obviously WWE did not air footage of that. The promotion will generally cut to footage of medical personnel if the injury is scripted as part of a storytelling angle. But WWE has yet to release a statement on Big E's status, but I don't think they even need to bother because I think we can definitely share the status here. I mean, 3 weeks away from WrestleMania, man, you got to feel bad for him. I mean, 6 months ago, he wins the WWE Championship in what I consider the moment of the year on Monday Night Raw in 2021 when he cashed in Money in the Bank on Bobby Lashley in Boston, won the WWE Championship. That celebration with Kofi and Xavier. I mean, had a nice run with it, held it for 110 days, and then of course New Year's at day one, they feed him to Lesnar, and that's really where his downward spiral began. I mean, you thought it couldn't get any worse than getting fed to Brock Lesnar. Oh no, the only thing that's worse than getting fed to Brock Lesnar is suffering an injury 3 weeks before the biggest show of the year. I know he was probably destined. My guess is he was probably going to be destined for the Andre Battle Royal. That's just my guess, but I think we can scratch that off the table now. So, and it's a damn shame because he is generally one of the good guys, and they not only love him on camera, they love him off camera too. And it's just a damn shame. He's a phenomenal talent. He's going to be a big star down the line. There's no question about that. And he had his moment 6 months ago, but I never would have thought 6 months later he would go from being the WWE champion to now breaking his neck and, barring an unforeseen miracle, is now going to be out of WrestleMania. That's our times, Daddy. That's our times. So we're thinking of him, no doubt about it. Our thoughts and our prayers are definitely with Big E. We wish him the best for a speedy recovery. Mania is very likely off the table now. Like I said, the only way he'll get there is if somehow, some way, we get a miracle, and we're gonna keep that in prayer. But it's very unlikely at this point. So, out of respect, no rating. But if I had to put a rating on this, I probably would have given this about maybe 2.5 to 3 for the effort. So, but obviously no rating. MF made the right call there. So. Phenom, Michael Bullock, come on in. Oh my gosh. 6 months ago, Big E wins the title, the moment of the year on Monday Night Raw in 2021. And now 6 months later, 3 weeks before WrestleMania, he suffers this very devastating injury. And like I said, barring a miracle, he's out of Mania.
Oh, man, I can't help but feel bad for him. I mean, this is, yeah, and Fletch made the right call. I think this is the right choice. Out of respect to Big E and the seriousness of the injury, we're not going to rate this match, but if we were to give it a rating, I would have given it the same thing, 2.5 to 3. But yeah, when I saw that, I was like, that's not good when you land on your head like that. And the broken neck that's pretty bad. And what sucks even more is this happens 3 weeks before the biggest night of the year in WrestleMania, and now it looks like he's going to be out of it unless a miraculous thing happens, but I just don't see it happening. I mean, and like you said, 6 months ago, he wins the WWE Championship, the biggest moment of his career. 6 months later, he suffers a broken neck 3 weeks before Mania, and you can't. But I mean, he's one of the most fun and lovable guys in WWE. I mean, everybody loves this guy, and you hate to see this happen to such a good guy like him. And you know what? I mean, Now, Floria, who was the one that gave that suplex?
I think it was Rich Holland.
I'll tell you this. I hope people lay off of Ridge Holland because this was just an unforeseen injury that, I mean, nobody could have predicted this. Nobody could have. You can't predict these things. And I hope the people on Twitter lay off of him and don't say any cruel things on him. I'm pretty sure, I mean, yes, his in-ring character is this mean guy, but at the end of the day, as we always like to say, we're all human. And I mean, I'm pretty sure Ridge Holland feels bad that this happened, and this was an accident. So we'll wait and see. But on behalf of all of us here at the Wrestling Forum, we want to send our thoughts to Big E and hope he has a speedy recovery and that we'll see him somewhere down the line. And it's not just WrestleMania that he's out of. Let's not forget another thing too, an event that the three of us are going to be going to.
WrestleMania Backlash.
Yeah, any chances of us seeing Big E there? Nope. Not going to happen. So take it easy, Big E. Get well, my friend, and we hope to see you back in that ring somewhere down the road. Fletch, as tough as it is, we have to move on.
Yeah, indeed. Not an easy thing to transition to, especially after an announcement like that, and it really hasn't. It really took the life out of the show if you really think about it. A whole bunch of promo stuff after that. The next actual meaningful match we had was Rick Boogs versus Jey Uso. Rick Boogs wins the match in 2 minutes and 25 seconds, but this was an important moment for us because Rick Boogs and Shinsuke Nakamura now gets a SmackDown Tag Team title match at WrestleMania. Big moment there. Then after that, the next match that we did get was a match for the Intercontinental Championship. This was the main event of the evening, as it was Ricochet versus Sami Zayn, and the winner of the bout in 12 minutes and 59 seconds, and still the Intercontinental Champion Ricochet successfully defends the title. Anthony Florio. Oh my goodness. We were thinking that maybe Sami Zayn gets the belt back. Nope. Ricochet successfully defends the title.
And how long? What was that time?
12:59.
12:59. 13 minutes, basically. Fight of the night here, no question. I'm going to give it about 3.5 for the effort. I mean, yeah. Beforehand, a red-hot angle unfolded prior to that match. Austin Theory insulted Pat McAfee at ringside, but Pat McAfee got physical, and the surprising intensity of that angle and the emotions painting both men's faces single-handedly elevated their feud and should set up one of the hidden gems of this year's WrestleMania card. As for this, Ricochet and Sami Zayn followed up all of that with a fantastic main event match, as one would expect given the talent involved. Zayn desperately attempted to shake off the mind games played with him by Johnny Knoxville, and did so for a large portion of the bout, showing intensity and aggression while chasing his 4th Intercontinental Championship reign. However, the resilient champion fought through it all, delivered the recoil, added the 630 to retain and continue what has been a long-deserved push as a prominent babyface in WWE. Ricochet slapped the mat out of frustration after a Sami Zayn clothesline cut off his attempt at a comeback with a nice touch and reflected the emotion and urgency of the match. Michael Cole calling the rest of that match solo while revealing that Pat McAfee had been escorted out of the arena after getting physical with a superstar was a nice touch and adds to the realism of that angle. And then the show went off the air with Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair brawling backstage. The Queen's penchant for vehicular assault still prevalent after all these years. And the introduction of a new submission by the Queen ups the ante for their main event on WrestleMania Saturday. So definitely a lot to make of that, but for right now, this was the fight of the night. 3.5 stars, no question about that. Hands down, the fight of the night. So, not much more to say. Michael Bullock, a lot happened here. Ricochet holds on to the Intercontinental Championship. Praise the Lord for that. Pat McAfee gets physical with Austin Theory, gets escorted out, and then Charlotte and Ronda, another backstage brawl to close the night.
Yeah, as far as the main event goes, I'll definitely give it 3.5 stars. I mean, I'm glad that of the outcome was Ricochet retains the title. I mean, this was a good match here, and with Michael Cole basically calling it solo after the whole situation with Pat McAfee, going after Austin Theory and being escorted out of the building, and then of course closing it out with the physicality between Charlotte and Ronda Rousey, and this definitely adds to it going into their match on WrestleMania Saturday. So there's really nothing more for me to add here. So Fletch, I mean, this was definitely a crazy way to close out the show on what was an emotional night after what we saw at the beginning.
Really, really, really heavy on the promos more than the action. We only had 3 matches on SmackDown Live. It was promo heavy tonight. With that said, Michael Bullock, you get the final say, on the overall review.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, this was basically a promo heavy show. I mean, you only had 3 matches. I mean, you had, obviously, with this being the fight of the night here, and the Intercontinental title match. I mean, that matchup with Rick Boogs and one of the Usos, and that tag team match. I mean, yeah, I'm gonna give this about maybe 5 to 5.5. I mean, it was just short on matches, and basically, and it was basically a promo heavy show. So it's hard for me to give it a good rating when you got all these promos and only 3 matches on the card. So 5 to 5.5. So Fletch, it is yours.
Four matches, actually.
Yeah, 4 matches overall. Look, I'm gonna say about maybe 5.5 to 6. I mean, yeah, it wasn't the most spectacular show. It wasn't really the best thing out there, but it was what it was. It was okay, more than anything else. And there's really nothing more to add here. So, promo heavy night, definitely fine. I actually don't mind that it was less matches, but I think what happened was I think the sales got taken out after the first match, and especially after the Big E injury. I think it kind of sucked the life out of the show, honestly. So really nothing more to add. Anthony, I'll give it to you, and then we'll get into Rampage.
Yeah, this was not a good show tonight. 5.5. That's being generous. Because we did have 2 solid matches. Excuse me. The main event, obviously the fight of the night. The tag team match was the second best fight of the night, despite the injury. And the other 2 matches, were like typical, ridiculously raw cutout style matches. Even though one of them did have WrestleMania implications, and that is Rick Boogs picking up the win, and now with that win tonight, he and Shinsuke Nakamura will challenge the Usos for the SmackDown Tag Team Championship at WrestleMania. So big moment for them, and And then of course what happened at the end with that very intense backstage brawl with Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey, and it definitely added to the excitement of that match. And the McAfee and Theory thing that took a big step forward here tonight with how intense McAfee got during that, and then of course the Lesnar stuff, the Brock Lesnar with an intense promo and the whole 9 yards. And man, but next week SmackDown will be in Charlotte, and it's been confirmed that Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns are both going to be there. So batten down the hatches, because you thought it got crazy in Madison Square Garden last Saturday night. That ain't nothing compared to what's going to happen next week. So we'll see. So 5.5. Let's get to Rampage. Meph, are you there?
Sorry, guys. I just got a moment there. So, all right. All right, let's see. So now it's time for AEW. Give me 1 second, guys. All right. So first off, we had was Darby Allin versus Mark Quinn. Darby Allin wins the match in 11 minutes and 56 seconds. Solid opener, about 3 stars to say the very least. So Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, 3 stars. Smart to start Rampage with the competitors from the first match already in the ring with only an hour and a 4-match card. Most weeks, every minute counts. Sting should have gotten in Cassidy's face when he interfered. Why else is he at ringside if not to have Darby's back? Darby is an underrated technician. A lot of his transitions are as smooth as can be, and more people need to pay attention to some of the little things he does well that fly under the radar. Mark Quinn's backflip into a DDT was cool, but he needs to work on it. It was a little too clunky to use on TV every week, and then Quinn hitting the 450 splash from the top rope all the way to the floor should have gotten a bigger reaction from the live crowds. So those are just my observations from this. Solid 3 stars. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, solid 3 stars for me. I thought this was a fine match here to start off Rampage. I mean, yeah, I would have loved to see a little more when it comes when it comes to Isaiah Cassidy and Sting, but I mean, I thought it was good enough with Darby Allin and Mark Quinn. So there's really nothing more to say. Let's move on, Fletch.
Next up on the fight card, Jamie Hayter going one-on-one with Mercedes Martinez. And it was Jamie Hayter winning the match in 9 minutes and 42 seconds. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
2.5 to 2 3/4. Physical fight from the moment the bell rang. They were hitting stiff strikes, slamming each other hard, and not worrying about whether anything they did looked pretty or smooth. All they cared about was making it look like a tough fight. Physicality in professional wrestling is just as important as knowing how to sell. If you can't make a move look good when you hit it, it won't matter how much your opponent sells for you. These 2 women are great at making everything they do look painful for the other person. One of the punches Jamie Hayter hit on Mercedes Martinez echoed after the impact, and the spider German suplex from the top rope is one of those moves that always looks dangerous, because if the person hitting it lets go too early or too late, the person taking the move will have a bad landing. So 2.5, 2 3/4 for me. Michael Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, 2.5 to 2 3/4. Yeah, it was a fine match. I mean, it was physical, but it definitely, I mean, yeah, Jamie Hayter getting a big win here, and obviously Rebel and Dr. Britt Baker looked like they were ready to make this a 3-on-1 assault after the match, but Thunder Rosa put a stop to it. Definitely building something going into that AEW Women's World Title match this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, St. Patrick's Day Slam. when Dr. Britt Baker will defend the AEW Women's World Title against Thunder Rosa inside the confines of a steel cage. So, yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to add here. So, Fletch, it is yours.
Yeah, I agree. 3 stars, no doubt about it. Solid match. And yeah, it was good for what it was worth. Now we go on to the next fight of the night. Keith Lee versus QT Marshall. Keith Lee wins the match in 4 minutes and 3 seconds. Bullock, you want to give a quick thought on this?
Yeah, I'll give a quick thought. I'll give this about maybe 1.5. It continues to show Keith Lee's dominance since debuting in AEW. So we'll see how it goes from here. So Fletch, quick thought.
Yeah, it was solid for what it was worth. Good action, good match. Really nothing more to add here. So Anthony, it's yours.
2 stars for me. It was fun, but it wasn't much. While this might not qualify as a squash, it was close. Every Rampage has one match that ends up being shorter than the others. This week, it was Keith Lee versus QT Marshall. It was okay, but it could have been so much more than it was. The outcome of this match was already predictable, but Marshall not getting a TV entrance made it more obvious. QT hit a nice missile dropkick at one point, and Lee is great at the big spots, like throwing someone across the ring and chopping them down. But he is just as valuable in competitive matches. Let's hope it doesn't take much longer for him to get a real challenge in a singles bout. 2 stars, worst fight of the night, main event time.
Yeah, the main event was Shane Swerve Strickland versus Tony Nese, and Shane Swerve Strickland wins the match in 12 minutes and 58 seconds. Impressive match. Great introduction to Shane Strickland into AEW. Solid match. Great battle. Of course, you also had a very good performance by Tony Nese as well. Easily 3 to 3.5 stars. You could easily call this a fight of the night candidate, maybe the fight of the night. But yeah, nothing more to say. Anthony Floyo, it's yours.
3.5 stars, fight of the night. Swerve made his AEW in-ring debut, taking on the premier athlete. These two have known each other for years and fought before, so it was nice to hear them reference their past in the pre-match interview backstage with Mark Henry. They initially kept things technical by focusing on holds and takedowns. As time went on, their aggression increased, and they began to use more strikes and high-impact moves. The second half of the bout saw both men start taking to the sky. We saw Nese attempt a springboard moonsault, and Swerve had more than a few opportunities to show off his agility. As good as this match was, you could tell they were not trying to put on a 5-star classic. This felt like a match designed to establish Swerve as a tough competitor, and it did the job. But it's safe to say they could have taken it further with everything they are capable of doing. With 5 more minutes, it could have been a match of the week candidate, but clearly it's not. We already know what that is. After a 450 splash, failed to get Nese to win. Swerve hit the double stomp for the win. WWE didn't even make a big deal out of the Who's House, Swerve's House thing. But it's awesome to see the fans already using it in AEW. Swerve hit a kick to Nese from the apron that looked and sounded brutal. People need to start giving Tony Nese credit for being one of the smoothest guys in the game. He makes things like a hop over the top rope into a springboard moonsault look textbook. And the fact that WWE never put a major title on either of these guys feels like a crime. Tony Nese had the Cruiserweight Championship of the world, and Swerve was the NXT North American Champion. But both guys should have had more success over there. 3.5 stars, fight of the night. Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, 3.5 stars for me. I mean, this was easily the fight of the night, hands down. I mean, Swerve Strickland definitely looked good in his first official match on AEW against someone like Tony Nese here. So who knows? Maybe some bigger and better things could be coming his way. So nothing more to say, Fletch. Overall thoughts on this edition of Rampage?
I will start because it's my
Anthony
turn.
Floyo leads off. Yeah.
I'm going to give this about 6.5 for me. Main event was definitely the fight of the night, no question about it. No, I'm going to make it between 6.5 to 7. I mean, the matches were, solid to good all the way around. And, we only had one bad match. It was the typical taped Rampage show. So I know we're going to get another one soon, but I just don't know when for the live one. But Swerve and Nice, definitely the fight of the night, no doubt about that. Darby and Mark Quinn had a solid match, and the women's match was, 3 solid matches, one not so much, but I think 6.5 to 7 is the appropriate rating. So not much more to say. Bullock, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll give it about maybe 6.5 to 7 on this one. I mean, you basically touched on everything with Strickland and Nice being the fight of the night. I mean, Darby Allin and Mark Quinn was a good match. I mean, same thing with Jamie Hayter and Mercedes Martinez, and you only had one bad match, so nothing more to say. Fletch, take it home.
All right, guys, we're getting on out of here. So Monday night, we do this all over again with Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Florio. Wednesday night, of course, there is the thing on Sunday. Our NCAA men's college basketball special that starts at 6 p.m. as we do reveal the 68-team roster, the 68-man field in the NCAA tournament. So with that said, we got that. Monday's Ridiculously Raw. And then we got the whole week of action that we got. Wednesday Night Mayhem, Strictly Sports. And we also got the Cerebral Smack Talk 1 week from tonight. So until then, have a good night, everybody. Thank you for watching. And for all of us here, so long for now. Bye-bye.